Hi everyone! As you've heard me say before, there are many reasons that a star child might choose to incarnate on planet Earth. The circumstance I feel most tragic is the human who has become caught into a cycle of reincarnation, living life after life, desperately hoping to get it right. They may have experienced a lifetime of disappointments or regrets and feel that they've made mistakes, maybe hurt someone, or even killed someone, or worse, if there is worse. And at the end of that life, they are so remorseful that all they can think about is doing it over again. I know I can do better next time. I won't make those same mistakes. I know I can get it right. So they immediately jump back into the same or similar life and do it all over again. The problem is they end up doing the same things they did before. Why? Because that's who they are. They return into this life without the memories of the life they've just lived. So they end up acting the only way they could at that time, under those same conditions and circumstances. See, they haven't evolved past who they were and don't realize that in this 3D matrix, the collective consciousness pretty much runs the show. and the demands and pressures of that chosen life are going to be the same. So they end up trying again and again, caught on the wheel of reincarnation that never goes anywhere and never stops. Every life we live is a play of consciousness, to which there is a beginning and an end. It is a completed masterpiece. The screenplay has been written, the movie made, and we are meant to move on to the next one, the next adventure. And if we still wish a life of the physical, there are infinities of worlds and planets to choose for a lifetime. In many ways, much more desirable than Earth, with its heavy densities and lower frequencies. The rest of the galaxy and beyond is all 5D and above. So why hang out lifetime after lifetime on only one? Well, it is true that a life on Earth can do much toward accelerating the expansion of a soul. But allowing oneself to get stuck only stagnates and slows the natural ascension and the progression on toward more magnificent roles and greater exploits. Another reason that souls decide to come to a life on Earth is for the experience they can gain, where they can create a specific script with circumstances and events written in, allowing them to face certain issues that they want to address or overcome. One might call this karma. Or maybe they just want to fall in love or raise a family or fight a war or confront an obstacle, like coming into a body that's disabled or has other limitations that will challenge their resolve and who they are. It's very much like creating a computer game. These souls usually come in for a one-time physical life, and at the end leave their body without holding regret or guilt. They recognize life on Earth for what it is, a game. As Einstein said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Indeed. But once we can truly understand that this existence here is a dream, that we're only dreaming, life here can become a magical romp through the world of the physical. This is when we can learn to lighten up and not take every little thing so seriously. As I mentioned, some choose an earth life as a means of clearing karma. Maybe in one life they were responsible for making a decision that ended up killing hundreds of people, or maybe had taken part in a horrible massacre, or they were a cruel husband or father, or acted in evil ways. And after death, became remorseful and determined to fix what they had done. Again, the problem is that they often just keep coming back, never satisfied with the results. So they create a lifetime hoping to somehow rectify their mistakes. For example, if they were a tyrannical slave owner, they may script within their game, their pre-birth plan, to be born as a slave under similar circumstances. If they were rich, they may choose next time to come into a poverty-stricken family. They choose the reverse, their circumstances, with the goal of paying off their karmic debt. Personally, I just have a much different take on karma. Once the person sees and understands that what they did was not ethical or just, that recognition and remorse and intention to set it right is all that is needed to balance any karmic debt incurred during that life. There's no judge or jury ready to hang you because you messed up. The only judgment is always self-inflicted out of disappointment and self-loathing. And this does nothing but add further trauma and slows the soul's essential development into the state of self-love and wisdom. Then there's the reason we discussed in a previous video, where an entire planet or civilization is in peril. And star beings line up to volunteer their services, either to come into a human body, a walk-in, or to physically come to Earth themselves as a walk down. This has happened many times over history, where an extraterrestrial being shows up when and where they're most needed, like Tesla or Gandhi, Galileo, or, as I said, Joan of Arc, or Martin Luther King. This brings me to discuss another part of this same subject. Currently, the world is awakening, and there are so many of us wanting to discover who we are. Who am I, and where did I come from? And now, with so much information coming through about the different star races, everyone wants to know who their galactic family is. What race am I? Most starseeds, at some point, come to recognize that they come from outside the Earth. But unless we are actually contacted by our ET race, it isn't always clear which star race is ours. So we research, and usually there's one group we feel more connected with. And we decide that this is our family race. And from then on, establish that this is who we are. I am a Pleiadian, or I am an Arcturian. I would like to suggest that it isn't so important which race we choose to be identified with, because we have all been many races, and we may just feel more attached to one or another because that was our most recent existence. Or we are now currently living a life as that race and are lying in an immersion pod, having come to Earth as a walk-in, wondering why we feel so identified with that particular race. Because we are that race now. It can be very comforting to finally know who our star family is, and it helps us to feel less alone. But just as so many have lived Earth lives as individual races in remarkable eras and civilizations in different locations and timelines and generations, ethnic groups, families, male and female, we who come from the stars have also lived a diversity of races, shapes and forms, a multitude of unique beings on realms and planets, known and unknown. Another light worker I spoke to recently told me that she had just become aware, after a lifetime of not knowing, that she has lived as both an Andromedan and a Pleiadian. Another good friend and star being has lived as an Orion. Another shared that he feels that he is a Sirian. I personally am aware of having lived as several races, including Arcturian, Urma, and Andromedan, and some I don't even have names for. For instance, I know of at least one lifetime where I had wings, one where I had blue skin, and one where I lived and breathed underwater. And the strangest existence that I'm so far aware of was as a being that was attached to another life form. And I myself did not have the ability to move and was fully reliant upon this body that I was fastened onto. Sort of like being a barnacle on a whale's back. You know, the barnacle is alive, but not mobile on its own, and grabs food with little feathery appendages as the whale swims through the sea. Is the whale more alive than the barnacle? Of course not. The barnacle lives a full life, all the while riding on the back of a great water mammal. Life is life. And just because it may not look like us, it's not greater or lesser than ourselves. You know, we will all soon have the opportunity to meet and greet those who are very different than ourselves in feature and form, but are our true brothers and sisters of Source. These are times of great awakening, not only of our extraterrestrial origins, but of our tolerance, our forgiveness, appreciation, and love. Not just of ourselves and our human families, but of all living things. This is the most magnificent gift we can gain in this lifetime. To learn unconditional love of all existence, in both the familiar and the unfamiliar. A wise entity once said to me that we are all here to make known the unknown. And this is the opportunity life is now offering. All who are willing to take a chance to walk outside of everything we've ever known as real and true and embrace the magic. You know, I would love to know your own thoughts on all of this. Feel free to leave any comments or questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.